So that's what I'm trying to
Right. Good morning and welcome to the Tuesday, February 9th meeting of the Mason County Board of Commissioners. Jerry Salisbury, the father of our sheriff, would you please lead us in the pledge of allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Can we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner District 1, Randy Netherland.
I'm here.
Commissioner District 2, Tim Sheldon.
I'm here on the phone. I have to apologize. We're on the floor this morning, and I'll have to leave at 9:30.
Commissioner District 3, Terry Jeffries.
Here. Thank you. Correspondence and organizational business. Can you please report the correspondence received?
The Department of Natural Resources sent County Income Report explanation of tables. Lori Younglove applied for the Solid Waste Advisory Committee. The Liquor and Cannabis Board sent a special occasion license application for Sunrise Equine Rescue. And the Port of Allen sent a letter asking the county to adopt their marina rules into county code.
Thank you. I just want to clarify that the Sunrise Equine Rescue is looking for a license for a special event liquor license. Just with the new name cannabis, it makes it kind of interesting. Let's see, item number 4.2, public notice. Melissa McFadden, are you?
Good morning, Commissioners. Melissa McFadden, Mason County Public Works. Mason County Department of Public Works will begin the spring application of herbicide for vegetation control along county roads on or after March 1st, 2016, weather permitting. For a detailed list of roads affected by the herbicide application program, please contact the Mason County Department of Public Works at 360-427-9670, extension 450, or visit our county's website. Property owners that are adjacent to the areas that are designated for spraying but do not want spraying to take place may enroll in our Owner Will Maintain program by contacting Public Works also. Those property owners who have already enrolled in the program and designated their property as no spray will not need to contact the Public Works office. We will not spray their property.
Thank you. Is there any other organizational business to come before the body? Thank you. Item number 5. This is our open forum for citizen input and opportunity to address the community and the commission on any items not on the agenda. If you would like to address the commission, please raise your hand and you'll be recognized. Come to the podium, state your name, and if you desire your address. Is there anybody that would like to address the commission on items not on the agenda? Thank you. Hearing none, then we will move on to item number 6, the adoption of the agenda.
Madam Chair, I move that the Board of County Commissioners adopt the agenda as presented today.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to adopt the agenda as presented. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye, motion carried. Approval of the minutes.
Madam Chair, I move for the, eyes are not working too well. Adoption of the agenda. Madam Chair, I move for the approval of the minutes, January 26th and February 2nd, 2016 regular meeting minutes.
Madam Chair, I'll second the motion to adopt those minutes.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the January 26th and February 2nd regular meeting minutes as presented. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye, motion carried. Next, we're on to our action agenda. All the items on the agenda are intended to be approved with one motion. The commission will read through the items on the agenda. If anybody in the public or the commission has any questions on the items, after we read them, you can state those questions. Anybody in the public also has the opportunity, or the commission, to remove any of the items for a separate vote and testimony. I will ask Commissioner Netherland to read item 8.1 through 8.3. Commissioner Sheldon, would you please read 8.4 and 8.5, and I will read 8.6 and 8.7.
Madam Chair, item number 8.1, approval of 2 resolutions. Number 1 form a shellfish protection district in McLean Cove of Pickering Passage, and number 2, create a shellfish protection district in Hood Canal. Number 6, Big Bend. Item number 8.2, approval of the Veterans Assistance Fund applications for necessity items $300, utilities $393.39, for a total of $693.39 as recommended by the Veterans Service Office. Item number 8.3, approval for the board to authorize Public Works to select and enter into an agreement for appraisal services as needed for the 2016 calendar year from the County Municipal Research and Service Center, MRSC, consultant roster or the 2016 letters of interest solicitation.
8.4, Madam Chair, is approval for the board to authorize the chair to execute the road levy certification for 2016 as per the request of the County Road Administrative Board, draft one. 8.5, approval of warrants. Claims Clearing Fund warrants number 803-617 through 806-3658 in the amount of $1,135,484.03. Claims Clearing Fund warrant numbers 803-6413 through 803-6474 in the amount of $326,456.80. Direct Deposit Fund warrants number 28583 through 28952 in the amount of $640,293. $640,293.32. Salary Clearing Fund warrant numbers 700-1636 through 700-1622 in the amount of $465,070.74 for a total of $2,567,304.89. Claim Clearing's year-to-date total is $1,656,585.97. The direct deposit year-to-date total is $1,230,065.57. And finally, the salary clearing year-to-date total is $1,339,068.64.
Thank you. Item 8.6, approval of the contract between Mason County Parks and Trails and Angie and Mark Stubblefield for on-site park attendant services at Walker Park, located at 2400 Southeast Walker Park Road, Shelton, Washington. This is a 2-year contract from January 1, 2016 to December 31st, 2018. 8.7, approval to enter into a copier lease with Ricoh for support services for 2 Ricoh MPC 6003 copiers at $475.84 per month and 1 MP2554 SP at $84 per month. This is budgeted in the support services budget. Is there anybody in the audience that has any questions on any of the items just read? Commissioners, do you have any questions on any items? Is there anybody in the audience that would like any of the items removed for a separate vote? Commissioners? Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion.
Madam Chair, I move for the approval of the action agenda as written, items 8.1 all the way through 8.7.
Madam Chair, I'll second the motion to approve all the items on today's action agenda.
It's been moved and seconded to approve items 8.1 through 8.7 on today's action agenda. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Right?
Aye.
Aye, motion carried. We have a public hearing today, but it's scheduled to start at 9:30, so we are not allowed to start that earlier than the time stated on the agenda. So we will move to item number 10. This is the other business. We have an announcement of an award, bid award information from Melissa McFadden from our Department of Public Works.
Good morning, Commissioners. Mason County Public Works, Melissa McFadden. On October 13th, 2015, the County Commissioners authorized Public Works to call for bids at a bid opening date time and award the asphalt emulsion contract for 2016. We had a bid opening on Friday, January 29th, 2016 at 9 a.m. There were 2 bids received, one from Albina Asphalt in Vancouver, Washington, and one from Husky Marketing and Supply from Seattle, Washington. We've accepted both bids. The product will be purchased based on our need, and we will consider transportation and availability in our purchase. We also have bid tabulations. They were attached for your information, and they are posted on the Builders Exchange of Washington website, which is bxwa.com, if anyone has interest.
Plus, I understand that there's some available at the podium.
Oh, great.
Everybody would like
Okay.
to take a look at.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Melissa. This is also the item on the agenda where department heads or elected officials can address the commission and or the public on any items of interest to either of our parties. We don't have any department heads here, but we have program heads. Are there any program heads here that have anything they wanted to share? No?
Put the pressure on.
We have time to kill. But I would like to maybe ask, with your indulgence, ask Debbie Riley, our Environmental Health Program Manager, to discuss this shellfish protection order here. Sure. Would you just maybe 3 or 4 minutes, just to give the public an idea of what this is all about?
Absolutely. Debbie Riley, Mason County Public Health. Every so often we have a shellfish growing area downgrade. And that's what happened last year. July 1st, we had a downgrade in the McLean Cove area of Pickering Passage. So that meant that the water quality wasn't quite at that standard for public consumption of the shellfish. On August 6th of last year, we had a downgrade in the Big Bend area of Hood Canal number 6. Each of these areas have very different makeups, very different populations. In McLean Cove, there's a couple of gentleman type ranches, small farms, and very sparse population. In the Big Bend area, there's a little more dense population and some really large on-site septic systems, commercial type systems that we'll be looking at. As part of the process, we determine the area, and that's basically done where the water quality above is good, the water quality somewhere below and running into those shellfish growing areas has issues. So the lines are drawn, and it's basically drainages into the shellfish growing areas. The resolution, which the commissioners passed today, is done setting up the shellfish protection districts. We have committees formed in each of the areas, and this time around we had excellent response from our citizens who live in those areas. So we're starting the work, and one of our staff people, Stephanie Kenny, has done a skeleton shellfish protection plan for the committees to start working on, so they're not working from ground zero. They have a basic plan, and we'll be fleshing it out for each individual area.
Thank you, Debbie.
You're welcome.
Kind of an interesting process that the state has for these, to address these, but I'm glad there is a process. Shellfish is so important to our economy here in Mason County. I will move on then to board reports and calendars, and this is an opportunity for the commission to address each other and the public where they've been and where our schedule is next week, and is there potential of having 2 or more of us at the same location. Commissioner Netherland, would you like to start?
Sure. Last week we had a finance committee meeting. I had an exit conference with an exiting employee. Mason Transit Authority had a special meeting. I was invited up to talk to the Tahuya Water District and their Tahuya Homeowner Association to help teach them a little more about running their meetings and overcoming some of the obstacles they've had. I'm proud to announce on their behalf, though, I went up there, was it almost 2 years ago when it started, when they were trying to put together all the books and everything from that water district. If anybody knows, these were all in the shambles to the point where the auditor had stepped in. That's why they called and asked me to come up, and they're a completely different organization now. They're extremely professional now. They've gotten out of all the troubles, and I went there, and when they started asking questions, they realized they already know how to do it now. So they've come a long way, and I'm very proud and happy for them. And it was nice to watch them when they found out they did this right, did that right, and that they're completely professional now. It was nice to watch their faces. They were proud of themselves, as they should be. Because as I said, it was bad. It was a newspaper 5 times over and over again bad. So they've come a long way. The citizens, when they stand up, can change things back, and it doesn't take that long. Let's see, North Mason Chamber breakfast. Alliance of Healthy South Sound, I had talked with the director. We sat down for a while and went over some of the business for that and for direct funding from the EPA. Met with different business owners in Belfair. There's still a lot of stuff going on with the road widening And they still have a lot of different issues that we're trying to overcome. But it's all coming together. It'll happen as it happens. Legislative steering committees, so we spent the day down in Olympia. The Women's Republican luncheon, the Chamber Gala, or Gala. One of these days somebody's going to have to tell me which one it is. I always thought it was Gala my whole life, but now everybody calls it a Gala, so I'm not sure what's happening. Yeah. Yeah. But it was a wonderful event. It's really nice. Kat Ross was recognized again for basically Citizen of the Year for all the work that she does in the community, and just a bunch of great people getting together, and they had a good time. I was very happy to attend it. For those who know, I don't usually do that, but I'm trying to learn. I'm trying to do that. We had our briefings. We had another special meeting at MTA, and then we had a finance committee this morning. This next week, as soon as I leave here, we're going for a viewing and an inspection on a piece of property for the veterans housing, for basically veterans that are without housing now. There's been a lot of work in the county and the community to give them opportunities to have a shelter and to have homeless veteran housing. And the county stepped up and put together a package this last year in the budget to put forward $100,000 for seed money. And as I said, they're signed around on a piece of property. We're hoping to see if it makes it through. You don't know until it's done, but if it does, it'd be a wonderful thing for our veterans. And I'm trying to stretch this out if you haven't noticed to make it longer. I usually just read right down, just get on out the door. The Democrats are having a meeting, and I've been invited to go there, so I think I might show up and drop in there. The Economic Development Council regular meeting, Legislative Steering Committee for WASAC is having a conference call that we all attend. I think we usually do that as well. We have an event to talk about down in the Pickering Road area. We're going to be going down there for a community hearing, if you want to call it. It's not actually a hearing, just a town hall, so that they can give their ideas and their opinions on the idea of changing the speed limit out there. I've had a few phone calls from the neighbors. I hope it goes very well. I know that there's a few that are angry, but they got to remember that everybody has opinions and they're all allowed to. There is no right or wrong. And then when the decisions are made, we do the very best we can with the information we have. Then other than that, I also have an appointment with the person that is running the Belfair widening for Washington State DOT to try and talk about some of the issues that have come up, and just to give you an update on some of the things going on. For those of you that don't know, there's been another little bit of a delay because they didn't take into account the water table in Belfair, and if anybody knows, you can put in a stick, a sign, and get water. It's just the way it works there. And so they put their holding ponds for the stormwater up and the plastic floater away, the stuff on underneath. So they've got some stuff they have to overcome out there.
Commissioner Sheldon, let's share your calendar with us.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Well, our session, I've been with you today, our session's just about halfway point, so I should be back there soon for, instead of doing some of the meetings, I've been on the phone, and I've missed some of the briefings, although I attended partial briefings a couple last week and this week. I just wanted to say on the reclassifications coming up that I do agree with the staff recommendations that will be delivered, and that the staff did a great job. They spent a lot of time on this, and I appreciate that. Last week I was a couple days I was in Portland briefly, went down late, then came back early in the morning for a public power conference monthly meeting with the PUD1 and PUD3, and Commissioner Netherland mentioned Belfair Water. The widening, I had some discussions with the Belfair Water District too, which are of course the district is struggling for the funding to complete their relocation of their water line, and talked to the contractor who's handling the job, and we've had some discussions here about other projects that might happen in the future, and I talked about 3 projects. One would be Simmons Road, where it appears we need another $1 million to complete that, unless we do some modifications or find some savings. And I know Melissa's in the room, hopefully she's in the room, and I know she's been very active with the DOT and working on the alternatives for Simmons Road to get that completed, because it is a safety project, and it's very important. Belfair widening, Commissioner Netherland mentioned that. I know we've had some difficulties because of weather as well as relocation of utilities. But that project was phased, and the DOT code word for phased means it's been shortened. So I have had discussions with the DOT about the possibility of completing phase 2 as well. So we're looking at the cost estimates for that, because that was funded at one time, and I don't think we should settle for anything less than the full project. And then another project that I've talked to DOT a little bit about it, and to our Senate staff and to the chairman, is the potential for a left turn lane on Highway 101 at Highway 119 in Hoodsport. That is a very busy intersection when, especially in the summer. There's a crosswalk there, so there's some real safety concerns. And I think Commissioner Jeffries, you went to a meeting at Hoodsport Fire Hall when those concerns were addressed, or at least raised with DOT. As far as schedule for a couple meetings that we might be together, if you're in Olympia, of course, let me know. And also, I have a speaking engagement with the Masonic Lodge at 6:30 on Thursday the 11th in Potlatch, right at the across from the casino. That's all I have, and glad to call in, but I'll have to go, as I said, at 9:30. Thank you.
Commissioner Sheldon and I will probably be at the Hood Canal Lodge also.
Okay.
Thank you. So my schedule, as last week after the commission meeting, also attended the finance committee meeting, had an exit interview also with a leading employee, had a meeting of the special meeting of the Mason Transit Authority Board. I met with our county engineer on Wednesday, and then I met with a gentleman who has been with an organization called Choice Regional Network, and Mason County is a member of this organization, and they are also facilitating, this is very confusing, they're facilitating something called health homes, county health homes or something like that. And anyway, it's a consortium of counties that are supposedly working together regionally to reduce usage as per the assumptions of the Affordable Care Act. And so what will that mean? What will some of the shared services be? How can we work together in our healthcare delivery, in our public health services, and some of our behavioral health services to help achieve these goals of utilization reduction? And the assumption is that those monies that are saved then would be reinvested into some very interesting and different type of things that you don't think of when you think of healthcare. And so I will be starting to ramp up involvement on the Mason County's behalf on some of this work. I attended a WASAC event, and then had basically some, what we used to call closet time or something, and did a lot of paperwork over the weekend. We had our briefings yesterday, and then we had a special meeting of the Mason Transit Authority Board. This morning I attended a Capital Land Trust breakfast and was very interested to learn about how they're using the Bayshore property as a outdoor science education site for Shelton School District students, something that's been being done for a long, long time up in the Belfair area, and it's great to see this activity down here, and Capital Land Trust leading that charge. And we had another finance committee meeting this morning prior to this meeting. Following today's meeting, there is the first graduation of our district court probation program added a training program, something called moral recognition training, and it's kind of in our mode towards restorative justice. And we've, this is now one of the requirements for some of our people that are on probation in district court, and we have graduation of our first probation meeting on that. Let's see, I have a MASCOM meeting, and then tomorrow I will, let's see, we're doing a signing for one of our new homeowners for Habitat for Humanity, the Olympic Region Clean Air Authority meeting, and then a meeting with the Squaxin Tribe, Green Diamond Resource Company, Mason County Trails and Facilities, and I think some correctional office regarding some planning in City of Shelton, planning around the what potential public uses could be made for the unused portion of the Simpson rail line. And we're probably talking about from the City of Shelton as far as Truman Glick Park. See a national connection there? So, and then I have a board meeting of the Community Action Council. I'm meeting with Jeff Thompson from our Veterans Advisory Board, and then this Cascade Pacific Action Alliance on the healthcare issue I was speaking to earlier. Do have the public meeting on the potential speed limit change for Pickering Road, and they'll be interviewing candidates for the executive director position for Mason Matters on Friday. And then that brings us back to Monday Monday's a holiday. Commission meetings on Tuesday the 16th at 9 a.m. That does bring us now to 9:30. Boy, we did that perfectly. Which clock are you working on?
This one. It's 9:28.
9:28. Okay.
So that one's still right, this one's still right.
Okay. It is, the reason that we have to be time certain on our public hearings is so that anybody in the public that didn't intend to have this before part of the meeting attend that, but wanted to be here for the public hearing so that they wouldn't miss out on anything, and they knew that it was going to start at 9:30 no matter what. Just to let you folks also know, we will be having on the 5th Tuesday of every month. We normally do not have a regular commission meeting, but February does have is it February or March? March does have a 5th Tuesday, and we normally take the 5th Tuesday and go up to Belfair and talk to the people in Belfair about issues that are pretty specific to that community. And we had a very great presentation yesterday in our briefings by the Hood Canal Salmon Enhancement Group, who's working collaboratively with some landowners and the North Basin School District to develop a wonderful park around the water wheel. The conceptual design of this is exciting, and it's exactly the type of amenity that Belfair needs and deserves. And thank you, Commissioner Netherland, for your work on behalf of this project. I think that does take my phone to 9:30.
All right, well, thank you very much, Commissioners, and I'll talk to you later.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Shelby.
Thank you.
Bring home some bacon. Okay, so this takes us now to our first public hearing, and this is a hearing to consider speed limit changes on a portion of Highland Road. And Loretta. Loretta Swanson, could you please introduce yourself and your position with the county?
Sure. Good morning, Commissioners. Good morning, all. I'm Loretta Swanson, and I am the Technical Services Manager for Mason County Public Works. And if I could introduce Dave Smith, who is our Transportation Engineer as well. And I'll do a quick kudos to the folks that have been doing the heavy lifting on evaluating the speed limit changes. We have Dave, who's on point, and he's ultimately responsible for developing the analysis and recommendations. But we also have our traffic support staff that go out and do the signing. They're a critical part of performing some of the evaluation and data collection. So Ken Howard and Chuck Greninger, which maybe some folks are familiar with. Chuck also collected information and data that is used in the analysis for the speed recommendations. So thank you to those folks that do the heavy lifting. All right. So with that, Highland Road, we received a petition from property owners, about 35 or so petitioners, some time ago, requesting an increase in speed limit along Highland. And it was non-specific as far as where within Highland.
we performed a variety of studies and collecting information and data. And based on that information, we are recommending that the speed limit be increased on a portion of Highland Road. And the section that we're recommending an increase is the southern portion, about the first 4.5 miles approximately. Highland Road is 8 miles roughly long altogether. So the southern portion from Boqualam to just north of Panhandle Lake, we're recommending to increase to 45 miles per hour. And then the portion beyond, we're recommending that it remain at 35 miles per hour. And the basis of the recommendation has to do with the alignment of the road, densities of driveways, what people are actually traveling on the road, and a variety of other factors that were taken into consideration. Are there any questions commissioners may have about what was looked at or?
No, you briefed us well, so.
Okay.
I just want to share for the public, I don't know if they got a chance to look at the Exhibit 1. And thank you, we have a transportation engineer, so we can get some of these wonderful reports. But the average daily traffic in the area that we're looking at is 328 vehicles a day. So you think about maybe one person that goes to work and then comes home, that would be counted twice, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So you take that right in half, and it kind of gives you an idea of how much residential traffic there might be there. So it's a not as traveled road as you would think.
Yes, exactly. Yep.
I have no questions. Are there any questions from the public?
Commissioners, I do have, Melissa pointed out something that I did not catch, and I apologize. In the ordinance itself, the very first paragraph, it reads, the revised Code of Washington, won't go on, permits local authorities to establish or alter maximum legal speed limits on county road on the basis of an engineering and traffic investigation, finding that the maximum speed, and then it says, is greater than reasonably safe. In this case, this is language that we would normally use for reducing a speed limit. In this case, we're recommending increasing, and I did not catch that. I apologize. We actually are finding that it is a reasonably safe speed, and we want to increase the speed limit here. So we are finding that the maximum speed is reasonably safe and an increase is warranted. Is that okay language, Dave, from your?
I would just delete the second part of that sentence. I would just delete the finding maximum speed is greater than reasonably safe. I think
Okay,
it's
sure,
still
and just end it. Yeah, that's a good.
Is reasonably safe in there?
I would just end after a traffic investigation.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thank you, Melissa. That's a better suggestion. So it would just,
Investigation, there. Scratch all that out. And leave in.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I was looking for the word after. Okay. Thank you. We'll note that.
okay,
And any action we take.
thank you.
Thank you. So that opens now up the public testimony. Thank you. I'm sorry.
Exit stage left.
The public testimony portion of the hearing. Is there anybody in the public that would like to testify on the item before us? Hearing none, I'll close the public testimony. Commissioner deliberations and or action.
No deliberations, do you?
I don't.
Okay, Madam Chair, I move for the approval of the speed limit change on Highland Road. Increase the speed limit to 45 miles per hour from milepost 3.595 to milepost 7.921 and execute the updated speed limit ordinance for Highland Road with the change as recommended by staff, finding that the maximum speed is greater than reasonably safe.
And I'll second that motion. We move the second to approve the speed limit change on Highland Road, increase the speed limit to 45 miles an hour from milepost 3.595 to milepost 7.921 and execute the updated speed limit ordinance for Highland Road revised as per recommendation of staff and stated in the motion.
Okay.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carried. Thank you. We have a second hearing on another speed limit issue, so Loretta.
Good morning. This hearing is to consider a speed limit change for a portion of North Bay Road. And the purpose for changing this speed limit came from a couple of citizen requests expressing concern about the safety in the section of road just as North Bay Road leaves the community of Allen and starts heading north towards Victor. And the concern is that that area has several driveways within the area. People are traveling faster than the posted speed limit in some instances, and there's concern about congestion there and potential for accidents. So based on a request from the citizens to evaluate the situation, again, our great team went out and took a look at various factors, and based on that information are recommending that the speed limit be revised from 35 miles per hour where North Bay leaves Allen for a distance of 0.35 miles. And that is in both directions. We had a little bit of cleanup to do also as far as where the 35 mile per hour zone was signed. And that is our recommendation.
Are there any questions for staff? Any questions from the audience for staff? I don't have an ADT to report to you. Those are very interesting to me. But, thank you. We'll open the public testimony portion of the hearing. Is there anybody in the public that would like to testify?
Sure.
Please, thank you. If you can state your name.
Sure. My name is Jeff Cizik, and my wife and I, Chris, represent about 50% of the petitioners, I think. So, we moved to Allen about 3 years ago, and we live about 50 feet from the speed limit transition. And in the 3 years, we've seen a lot of near accidents with the previous businesses that were there. We're right across the road from currently it's North Bay Marijuana, but before that it was kind of a perpetual garage sale. You had a vintage furniture store. You've had a lot of different businesses. This business definitely has more customer clientele than the previous businesses. So there's a lot of turning in traffic into the parking area of North Bay Marijuana, and especially when you're coming into Allen, there's not a lot of warning that business is coming up on you, so people slow down rather quickly. The ones that want to turn in, the ones that don't want to turn in, they're still cruising along at 50 miles an hour. And as you indicated, as soon as people leave Allen, they start their acceleration, and they're usually at 60 before they ever even get to our driveway and the turn into the business. There have been 2 accidents since North Bay Marijuana's opened up. One of them was someone pulling out, and a semi truck kind of took off the front of their car as they were pulling out. Again, it's because people just don't slow down when they see the 35 miles per hour speed limit. So backing the speed limit up, I think it's about 500 feet further down the road. One, it would allow people to have some time to turn in, not be going 50 miles an hour when the person in front of them is trying to turn in. And the other, it'll afford, right now, the reason people speed so much through there is there's not really any enforcement through there because there's nowhere for a sheriff to sit and do enforcement, and people know that. And extending it 500 feet down will actually provide some pull-out areas for some enforcement action to happen, because I know just lowering the speed limit isn't going to change people's behaviors, but if they start seeing a sheriff there and see people that are pulled over, they'll think twice about speeding through that area. And there's been a lot more near misses since North Bay Marijuana has opened up. It's just, especially the summertime, because there's so much more traffic on North Bay Road, and it actually backs up to our driveway going into Allen. And again, people are kind of come cruising into Allen, and there's a turn before you hit the stretch of road where you have the speed limit transition, and people don't necessarily see that coming. So we hear lots of brakes, lots of screeching tires. So I think I'm fully supportive of this, and And I know the owners of North Bay Marijuana were very supportive of this as well. So.
We'll notice that the reaction time of those leaving and entering may be a little slower this year.
Yes, the one accident I mentioned where the semi hit the truck, the guy was fiddling with something as he was pulling out, and he took his foot off the brake, and he didn't even realize he had pulled out onto the road. And yeah, it was a near fatality. It took off the front of his car, but if he had been out about 3 feet further, he wouldn't have made it either.
So it sounds to me that the issue is both people coming into Allen as well as leaving Allen.
It is.
That transition time is.
Yeah, probably more so people coming into Allen, more so with the turning into the business, because one of the drives into the business, just because of all the vegetation, it really sneaks up on people. And if people don't know exactly where the turn is, they kind of have to come to almost a complete stop, and that's right where the transition is from 50 to 35.
It may be beneficial to have a sign brought up closer to it also, because I live there, and I can assure you it is like an off-ramp. As soon as you get it, they just take off. It's an odd thing.
And people actually try past, because the people that try to go the speed limit, the other people are passing them, and that's dangerous too, because you got people pulling out of the store and there's nowhere for them to go.
Right. It's a real pleasure to have you here and be able to talk a little bit about that neighborhood. Do you mind if I ask you a couple more questions?
Sure.
Just
No
for my
problem.
own edification. Has the traffic, how long have you been there?
We've been there 3 years.
3 years, okay, so you don't have a lot of history with
No.
it. Have you seen an increase in traffic
Definitely.
in general on the road?
Even last summer, we saw more traffic. Now, last summer was a more beautiful summer than we had, but we definitely saw a lot more traffic.
Promotion that's bringing them.
And there has been a lot more traffic with the business. Now, granted, people don't, it's pretty much in, out, they're on their way, but there's a lot of in, out on their way, especially on weekends.
A lot of people have discovered the shorter way to Gig Harbor and all the construction, all the different things. They're booming right there at the end of that. So
On the Gig Harbor end
Yes.
or on the
Yeah,
north of Highway 16?
so a lot of people have shifted and stopped going to Kitsap, oddly enough. They're going that way and going to Gig Harbor.
Actually, that was,
And-
when I first moved here, my preferred route, and I quit doing it.
And the store is doing a very good business too, partially because of all the construction in Belfair. People that are on this side of Belfair
I see.
do not want to go to Belfair.
Yep.
Well, thank you so much for
You're welcome.
taking the time to come down and testify.
You're welcome.
Is there anybody else who'd like to testify on this issue? Hearing none, we'll close the public testimony. Is there any commissioner deliberation?
Madam Chair, I move that for the approval of the speed limit change on North Bay Road, extending the 35 mile per hour speed limit out to milepost .35 and execute the updated speed limit ordinance for North Bay Road.
All second. It's moved and seconded to approve the speed limit change on North Bay Road, extending the 35 mile per hour speed limit out to milepost 0.35 and execute the updated speed limit ordinance for North Bay Road. More discussion?
I guess if you get a chance, could you look at the idea of putting a speed limit sign and perhaps a no passing sign also?
Or I would also
Yeah.
maybe suggest maybe a left turns, left turns approaching sign. I can't remember what they say, but the people where there's going to be left turners into.
It'd be more so right turns, because like the people coming out of Allen, they got clear vision that way. It's the other way.
That's where you need the no
Yeah, no
passing. Coming
passing.
out of Allen.
No passing would help.
No passing.
Once our engineer can, think through some of the things, the issues that I hope maybe you've heard, what they may be, and how signage may or may not help it.
And I was thinking also about business signage as well, so something to cue folks that want to use the business well in advance, that it's coming up.
Yeah. Ironically, isn't it funny that the signage rules around there around the retailers would not allow you to be very vocal about this is where it is, but that would be helpful in this particular situation.
Actually, the particular business has banners.
They do. But you can't, again, coming into Allen, you can't see the banners till you're right up on it.
We get to see them every day.
Look over the water.
We do. God is good, we do.
Okay, well, that's good discussion. Thank you very much. I'm going to call for the vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. That ends our business on our agenda, unless there's anything else.
Nope, on my way to the inspection.
Okay, so we are adjourned.